Why do we have schools that incarcerate children by their zip code? Why are we suspending children as early as kindergarten? Why? And so I want to talk to you about why. And so in this moment, I want to start with a poem from William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats wrote these words. He said, "Things fall apart. The sinner cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loose. And everywhere, the ceremony of innocence is drawn. The best lack conviction, while the worst are full of passion and intensity. Surely, some revelation is at hand." William Butler Yeats wrote these words down, not that I prescribe to his thoughts or his ideologies. It's just his words that were impactful to me because he was trying to describe the new world that we were entering into after World War I. And poetically, he said, there's got to be a revelation for us to be able to reconstruct what was just deconstructed. If I can put I'm going to interchange back and forth between being a speaker and being a preacher, if that's okay with you. And if I can put my preacher hat on for a moment, I will show you that what William Butler Yeats was talking about is laid out right in your Bible in the book of Genesis, in Genesis 1, when the Bible says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Yet the Spirit of God hovered over the waters." And what Genesis 1 lays out for us is that the God of the universe decided to start the narrative of creation at a point of chaos. The reason that he did that was to show you that he was God and that he could create ex nihilo, meaning out of nothing. But more importantly, out of chaos. So God can take the chaos and use it as a canvas so that he can create what he really wants to create. That's how that God is. He is a master builder. The person that you're sitting next to is in this room, and the reason you came to listen about how to break the school-to-prison pipeline is simply because you too have an affinity and a passion to build things that break systems that are not working for individuals. That's why you're in the room. But you must understand and know that there is a pattern of wisdom that I like to call that is laid out right in our Bible in Genesis 1 that shows that God starts with the order, then there's a disorder, then there's a reordering of things. And so as William Butler Yeats says these words, there must be a revelation. Reality is being uncovered and unveiled. And systems of injustice and evil are being exposed like never before. Somebody shout, "This is the moment." The question is not, can we build an education system that does not incarcerate children by their zip code? Or can we build a criminal justice system that is restorative rather than punitive? The question is not either one. The question really is, can we lose our loyalty to old things? Can we lose our loyalty to outdated models? Can we lose our loyalty to ineffective practices? And in some cases, illegal practices. You see, change has a pattern, or change has stages. And these are the 5 stages that I want to talk to you about. Because these stages is going to help explain to you why we have mass incarceration, why we have schools in some of our communities that are failing children and not working for all kids. Because the two are connected. All of our social systems are interconnected. And the reason I choose education is because if we can move the mountain of education, we'll start moving the mountain of criminal justice. And if we can move the mountain of education, we'll start moving the mountain of housing. And if we can move the mountain of education, we'll start moving the mountain of health. And these are all areas that are impacting our community, and they are all interrelated. And so if you tackle one, you gotta tackle all of them. And so these stages of change begins with a man. And I'm a preacher, so I alliterated it for you. But it begins with a human. The reason I say man is because it's an M, and all of these are M's, and they're alliterated. So there's another M coming. But when I say man, I don't mean that it's gender specific. I just mean human. Whenever something powerful is taking place in the world, a person had an idea. All great things in history were made by a man or a woman that were willing to dream and to build their dream. It doesn't matter what it is that is created or made, it all started with a person. And that person had such an idea that spoke to reality in such a prominent way that people took hold of that idea and it created a movement. And once a movement began and a groundswell took place, everybody started talking about the idea and rallied around the idea until the movement was so massive that they had to create a machine around the movement so that the movement can be sustainable. The machine was the structure and the strategy and how the processes and the policies were going to take place because the idea needed somewhere to live. So they created a machine, whatever the machine is, whatever the structure was. But what happens is that typically the person with the idea doesn't live long enough to see the idea come into manifestation. So the person dies that had the zeal, and therefore the idea starts to lose some of its originality, and other people's perception of the idea is embedded into the policy, and now the machine has become a monument. The place of the monument is where the maintenance is so that we can keep the idea that we once had, that the man or the woman created, that originally was a movement, but all of a sudden we did the work of the machine, and therefore since we did the work, we have a loyalty to the work that we did, and we want to keep things the way they are because we like our monuments.
Miami, and all the different places that we see what living is about, because we've been mastering suppression so long because we filter how we feel. You told me this, Dr. Stewart. You said you gotta let it out the right way or you're gonna act it out the wrong way. You said you gotta let it out the right way, else you're gonna act it out the wrong way. That has helped me so much, to the point where we did this. I need my pastor and a psychologist because I understood the difference between chemical imbalances and situational imbalances. There's a thin line between the two, and the only two people that can identify that is a pastor and a psychiatrist. And so I said, there's no sense in me trying to be a hero. I need some myself. I remember a time I sat on the couch and let you talk to me. I said, look, I need to be on this couch myself.
Amen, amen. And I love your transparency, because sometimes when you look at the stage, you think we have these perfect lives and that we don't need anything. I'm telling you what I've been through. Okay, I believe in being transparent. I have a therapist. Okay, so I'm the director of the Center for Counseling and Behavioral Health under the tutelage of Bishop T.D. Jakes. And can I tell you, I went through a divorce as a counselor. I'm saving other people's marriages and couldn't save my own. But God said He will restore.
God all by himself. He's not God alone. He's God alone. And Father, tonight we exalt you. We thank you that you have not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power. And because we have the power, we're walking with fire. And because we have the fire, we stand in authority. And we know that whatever the enemy throws, it will not prosper. It will not prosper. Because he's given us angels. He's given his angels charge over me to protect us in all our ways. So we lift our hands and we say, Father, thank you. Thank you that you have given us power and not the spirit of fear. Thank you. Hallelujah. Glory to God. My God. Father, we bless you. Bless your name, Father. Daddy, you unravel me with a melody. Yes, God. You surround me with a song of deliverance from me enemy them till Lord me fear them, all of them gone. Come on, say, I'm no longer a slave to fear. Everybody lift your hands and declare that. Say, I am a child of God. Come on, lift your hands and say, I'm no Yes, I am. And tell me, set me free. For who the Son set free is free indeed. And tell me that I'm free, and I believe everything that He said to me. Said no, I'm no longer one slave, do not fear. Sitting up and down, I am. So never walking in the boldness, walk in confidence. I'm not afraid, I won't look behind. Cause my eyes is fixed on Jesus. Yes, I am a child of God. That's why I'm standing. Come on, sing. Oh Lord, I'm standing on the promises of Christ my Savior. Hallelujah. I'm standing. Oh Lord, I'm standing. Oh Lord, I'm standing on the promises. Come on, if you know it, lift your voices and sing. I'm standing. Oh Lord, I'm standing. For the one whose promise is faithful. Standing on the promises of Christ, my Savior, Savior, Savior. Oh Lord, standing on the promises of
Pastor of Lakewood Church, Pastor Joel Osteen, and he's going to present the door. God bless you. Make some noise.
A master builder isn't afraid to build on a grand scale. A master builder toils behind the scenes
Hey, when Joel gets up,
before stepping onto the stage.
I'll never be the same. In Jesus' name.
A master builder constructs spaces where all people are welcome. A master builder knows that the strongest foundation to build on is hope.
You are stronger in you think. Remind yourself, I've been designed to withstand.
Oh man, you guys are awesome. I feel like I'm at home with you guys, and so I just appreciate you. I just, no place I'd rather be than with faith-filled, favor-filled, blessed, anointed, strong, talented, victorious people. Thanks for coming out tonight. Bishop Dates, thanks so much for having me. I mean, everybody would rather have you up here, Bishop. You're the bishop, but I'm honored to be here, Bishop. I tell Bishop all the time, I grew up in church, y'all, and I have never heard people tell the Bible stories like Bishop Dates. I mean, my goodness, I call him, I wear him out because I listen to all of his CDs, and he'll speak an hour and 15 minutes, and I'll get like 10 messages out of one of his messages. I steal them all the time, but they're so good. I can't do them like him, but I can just take one thought from Bishop. I think he just passed right by that. That was brilliant, but I don't know. He blessed me not just as a phenomenal minister, but an awesome friend. He's been a friend to Lakewood, and he's been coming down to Lakewood for 10 years, and and then every time I'm around Miss Serena, First Lady, boy, she just makes me smile. She just brings a smile on my face. Bishop, I'll be listening to your CDs now here in the background. Bless him, Bishop. Bless him, Lord. Bless the Bishop. I love that. So supportive. I see Teray and Cyril in the front row. Wow, awesome ministers as well. Just on you tonight. God saw you take the time to come, to spend the money, to get babysitters, to take an airplane. You know what I've learned? You can never give God something without Him giving you more back in return. It's just the way God is. And so I hope tonight you know that God is smiling down on you. You're not going to have an average year. You're going to have a blessed 2022. Let me tell you, I I love it says in Psalm 65 that God will crown the year with a bountiful harvest. Not a get by year, I got the pandemic, I got these problems at work. No, let's have a new mentality. Lord, I thank you for a bountiful 2022. Bountiful means I got plenty of peace, plenty of joy, plenty of favor, plenty of resources. Bountiful means not just enough for you, but you got plenty left over to be a blessing to other people. In other words, you go to work and everybody else is complaining, got these problems, but you go in there with a smile on your face, a spring in your step. You know, my dad always taught us every believer is a minister. Yeah, you know, some of us are up here, but you can reach people. Sometimes, you know, it's not preaching a sermon, it's just being good to somebody. It's just having a smile at work and everybody else is complaining. They know there's something different about you. A bountiful 2022. It even, that scripture goes on to say, I think it's Psalm 65. God will crown the year with a bountiful harvest. Even the hard places will overflow with abundance. In other words, I'm not saying you won't have some difficult times in 2022, but you're going to have an abundance of strength. God is right there with you, fighting your battles. He's got you in the palm of His hand. Raised you up for such a time as this. You're anointed, equipped, and empowered. I can feel the faith in the room tonight. So I hope you put your shoulders back, hold your heads up high. We're not average people. We're children of the Most High God. He breathed life into us. I love this. God chose you before you could choose Him. God chose us to be here. You think about, you know, you could have been born 400 years ago. I could have been born 400 years from now. Bishop could have been born, 200 years from now. But God said, you know what, 2022, you know who I want to come together? These people right here. He chose you, He chose me. I never thought about this. He didn't choose David to be here this time. He didn't choose Sarah, Ruth, John, Peter, Paul. That's all great. But when God looked down through eternity, He said, who can I trust in 2022? Sometimes we used to say growing up, oh, what if we lived in Bible days? We're living in Bible days, y'all. God's doing awesome things. He's using you and me to bring about His kingdom. Let's be bold. Let's be strong. Let's keep our heads held high. God being for you is more than the world being against you. Anyway, that's my sermon before my story. But anyway, yeah, no, you know what, guys? I never dreamed I would be doing this. Bishop, he already made me cry sitting there, but, I told myself I wasn't going to cry, but I never dreamed I would be doing this.
I think there's a whole section of people that didn't come to hear me, that came to see you. I'm going to take you back to many occasions you and I have been in conversation. You might not remember this. You're having breakfast. I think we were in Atlanta at the Four Seasons. He's just sitting there having breakfast like people. And I came down there to have breakfast. I walked past, I thought, it's Denzel Washington. And we entered into a conversation that I sat down and we enjoyed it. We had great fellowship and great fun. And you've always been a very touchable, down-to-earth person who seems to pay little attention to all the tremendous accolades that have been afforded to you. Is that part of the secret sauce that has kept you grounded and added to the longevity of your career, that you did not allow the hype to inflate the way you see yourself?
My mother, God rest her soul, she made it to 97. She went to last year, and she owned a beauty shop, a beauty parlor, excuse me.
Okay, a beauty parlor.
She owned a beauty parlor, not a salon, a beauty parlor. And I had done one or two things, and I'm feeling myself. And I came in, I said, Ma, did you think all this was going to happen? She said, what did you say? All the people been praying for you. She started calling me superstar. So she said, okay, superstar, why don't you grab that bucket and go clean them windows, superstar. You finished with that, superstar. So I got the message, I got the message.
That grounding is something that's rare today. We see people rise up like Xenos and then crash like nuclear bombs. You have the added advantage of looking back over decades and decades of being relevant. Longevity is important to success. When you start talking about longevity, there are many people out here who want to have longevity regardless of their profession, whether it is in corporate America, whether it's in the faith realm, whether it's on the stage. Longevity on the stage, I tell people the lights are bright, but the heat is hot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been hot. It's been hot on that stage. Many people who started with you melted. How did you make it?
How do I what?
How did you make it?
By the grace of God. I mean, I don't take any credit for it. It's nothing I did as special, you know. Been knocked down a few pegs and recognize it, but I just didn't put me first. I just put God first, and He's carrying me through the ups and the many downs. You know, the things you hear about and the things you don't hear about.
You know, when you think about that, we were at Tyler Perry Studios for the dedication of the Tyler Perry Studios. We were talking this Sunday morning. I talked about the difference between people who walk through a door, which is an opportunity, and other people who turn that door into a platform through which other people are able to access their dreams. Without question, you have had many doors open to you, but you have also created many platforms and introduced to the world many talented, gifted people without which your influence would not have happened. You didn't have to go that extra mile to do that. You could have enjoyed the limelight of the door and walked away. Is there a sense of fulfillment that you get out of creating that platform, or is it purely from a business perspective?
I love seeing other people do well. Always have. I grew up in a boys club, now the Boys and Girls Club, and I was a counselor there, and I came up in the club as a counselor, at first as a camper and then as a counselor, and I always enjoyed seeing other people do well. It's interesting that I ended up in this business where it appears that you're out front. That's not even my nature.
You know, the funny thing about it is when you think about when the public thinks about you, they think of you as an actor. When I think about you, I think about you not only as an actor and an entertainer, not only as an icon in our community, but I also see you as a businessman, because what the public doesn't realize is that entertainment is a business. And you have been successful not only at acting on screen, which a lot of people do, you have been successful in the business of entertainment. Can you talk to me about the business aspect?
I tell people all the time, they call it show business. They should call it business show. No business, no next show.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Explain it.
No business, no next show. And you know, you have to deliver. I mean, it is a business. It's a dollars and cents business. And you have to deliver.
And you have to know your worth. And you have to be able to negotiate from the perspective of knowing your own value. If other people know the value to want you, but you don't know the value to know who you are yourself, it would appear to me it would be quite difficult to be successful if you don't at least have some sense of the equity that has accrued behind your brand, and consequently negotiate from the leverage of understanding that equity. At what point did it hit you that I am worth more than how I'm being handled, and how did you negotiate into the next stream of opportunities without allowing people to prostitute what God had given you?
I'm just that guy, you know. I'm not scared to say no, you know, and you have to say no sometimes. And it's the no's that I said that really got me, you know, wherever I am now professionally. And the money really didn't scare me, you know. I've said it before, you never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. You know, no matter on your last day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. So that's you know, the Egyptians tried to take it from them.
Right.
Yeah, all they got was robbed, right?
Right.
So but you can leave it here.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the money. I'm talking about what God has blessed me with.
Orientation that people will have different experiences. He's wrestling with that. Saying, how can a good God do something like that? And I explained to him, I said, bro, hell is just a place where evil is quarantined. Thank God for a God that will quarantine evil. I said, it wasn't even made for us. It was made for the devil and his angels. I said, but bro, why would God force somebody to be with him eternally who has made a decision they don't want to be with him temporarily? So is God actually giving people what they want? And the look I saw in his face, I'm telling you, it shifted things for me, because I thought, well, in my experience, people who were asking questions like that were kind of looking for an argument. But what I saw in his face was, it was almost like relief. He wasn't being combative. He was just confused. And he needed an answer. And Peter says, we should be ready to give an answer. The word answer, defense, apologia, apologetics. We should be able to give an answer. Any man that asks us a reason for the hope that is within us and to serve this present age, we need to be equipped in unique ways. And so we put together this program, this course about 2 years ago, where I literally took the best of what I've learned in my 20 years of theological learning. My time at seminary at Princeton, my time at Fuller, my time teaching at Princeton. And say, how can I take because everything I read didn't help me, but how can I take the best of what I learned and put it in everyday language so that people can apply it to their everyday lives? How can I help people better understand, better interpret, better apply, and better explain the Bible? So we created this course called the Everyday Seminary. And the registration for this, well, the experience that people have had in this has been mind-blowing. It's changed lives literally all over the world. I've ran into some of you in the room already who have been through Everyday Seminary. And we decided that we wanted to make it available for those who say, you know what, I want to take that and I want to apply it to my life. I want to be better equipped to serve this present age. It's literally on demand. You can watch it whenever you want. You've got lifetime access to it. They're going to put a graphic up on the screen. It's going to have a QR code. You can use your phone to do that if you like. Or you can go to everydayseminary.com/ILS. Now, if you don't do the ILS, you won't be able to access the program because the registration's closed. But we want to bless you. We want to add value to you. And we believe God's going to use this to equip people to turn the world upside down. Somebody clap your hands all over the house for that.
She needs no formal introduction, but she'll get it. This Naomi Rain. Come on. You know, for a music crowd, y'all are a little reserved. Come on, y'all give us some love. Listen, and we are so excited that just at the last minute, I asked this young man, I said, please, how can we talk about building a global music brand and not have you a part of the conversation? He was originally supposed to fly out, but he changed some things because he is what I call an architect. He showed us all how to do it. He showed us how to include black and white, CCM and gospel, and everybody else. And if you were there last night, you understand the artistry of what this man has done. So I need y'all to welcome to the stage Mr. Israel. Can y'all give it up for all our panelists? Can y'all give it up for all of them?
Some things I did a master class with 1,000 singers in Milan, and I told them that I keep in touch with everybody everybody, but then I ended up doing the same thing in Barcelona, and then I ended up doing the same thing in Copenhagen. And so Andre told me that we got on the ground there. They didn't just want to get to know us from the stage, they wanted to get to know us from the audience. And I kept friends, like we've been texting throughout the pandemic, when I can't wait to come back to Ireland and hang out with y'all. So I think you have to go there and you have to understand their customs, because a lot of times people in America don't realize sometimes it's really a big world outside the United States, and they have their own ways. The tenors, they come to rehearsal in Ireland, the tenors are going to come to rehearsal, and on the break they might have a Guinness beer sitting down beside them. I'm not going to judge them because that's their culture. And when you understand other cultures, you know how to present your words, your message to different countries. So I say invest, go there, get to know them as friends, not just as artists from the stage.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So in that, and you mentioned social media. So Stephanie, I know that you all have a huge platform, and as Naomi said, kind of growing out of that social media space. Do you think that Christian artists and gospel artists understand the power of streaming platforms yet?
I think they're learning to. I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, is how valuable these digital platforms are, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, even TikTok. I know a lot of us shy away from those platforms because they seem too forward, or it's a lot to learn. Maybe next year is another platform, but there are some key platforms that we do need to invest into. From a streaming standpoint, I do think that partners such as Apple or Spotify are learning the value of what a gospel, inspirational Christian, even country Christian brands can do. And I think that artists, even Kanye West, has opened up that door for artists in our genre now. And it's up to us to foster those conversations and to continue to open the doors after that door's been opened. So
those of you who are from Charlotte, you know, PTL at that time was second to Disney in tourism. And I was actually there in the barn when Jim told us about the scandal the day before it happened. I was there. So what I'm going to say is yes. And this is why, and then I'm going to say this. In the 80s, maybe mid, when the GMA would give awards to gospel, it was on Thursday across the street at another building. And on the next day, when they gave the Dove Awards, it was in the big building, and they didn't give the gospel awards in. That's not me gossiping, that is history. That happened. Richard Smallwood would get his award on Thursday across the street. And then, now it's blended now, but when you start a root of something like that, it's always very slightly there. I don't care how the tree looks at the finish line. If that root was started, then you have to just tear the whole tree down and start something else, because it's just gonna be there.
Stephanie, you gonna say something? You shake your head.
It was very interesting because I come from the mainstream side, and coming into the inspirational space and to see the level of segregation and conversation and platforms was eye-opening to me, not coming from the space. And I'll speak specifically about the Grammys because it is a more unbiased platform. And I think if any of you are familiar with the awards that we're nominated for this year, we're nominated across all the gospel categories and all the Christian categories as Maverick City Music. And I think that speaks volumes as to the impact and the change that's happening right now. And I think the conversations, even being able to have this conversation right now, is an example of the conversations that are happening behind the scenes. And there are trailblazing men and women that I have come across in the little time I've been on this side that have shown integrity in those conversations. And it takes really a unifying, collaborative spirit between both genres, the executive side, the artist side, what it looks like in front of the camera, behind the camera. And I want to emphasize that unity, that collaborative spirit that we've seen in front of the camera through Maverick City is happening behind the scenes right now. And it's not an easy feat. There's tough conversations. There's things that you say that you may receive backlash. You may not receive a nomination next year because you spoke up this time. Or you may not be friends with that person and play politics with that person because you spoke up this time. But I think there's a wave of new, fresh minds coming in behind the scenes that is really changing the conversation.
Okay. And I'm not anti-abortion. This is just conversation. I'm the moderator, so I gotta stir the pot a little bit. But I would really hope that we can dive in and say something to somebody out there who feels like their ministry has not been noticed because they haven't got a plaque. And how do we minister to that person to say, hey, at the end of the day, if we haven't got the attention of the Father, you can win all the awards that you want and still feel empty because it's not in an award. You'll get it, you'll smile, you'll say your acceptance speech, and then you'll go home empty because it was never for you in the first place. It's almost like you're an imposter. You're accepting something that was never really meant for you to receive. But that's y'all's question. Y'all go ahead.
I'm going to speak to that a little bit.
Being relevant. Longevity is important to success. When you start talking about longevity, there are many, many people out here who want to have longevity regardless of their profession, whether it is in corporate America, whether it's in the faith realm, whether it's on the stage. Longevity on the stage, I tell people the lights are bright, but the heat is hot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been hot. It's been hot on that stage. Many, many people who started with you melted. How did you make it?
How do I what?
How did you make it?
By the grace of God. I mean, I don't take any credit for it. It's nothing I did special, you know. Been knocked down a few pegs and recognize it, but I just didn't put me first. I just put God first, and He's carrying me through the ups and the many downs. You know, the things you hear about and the things you don't hear about.
You know, when you think about that, we were at Tyler Perry Studios for the dedication of the Tyler Perry Studios, and we were talking this Sunday morning I talked about the difference between people who walk through a door, which is an opportunity, and other people who turn that door into a platform through which other people are able to access their dreams. Without question, you have had many doors open to you, but you have also created many platforms and introduced to the world many, many talented, gifted people without which your influence would not have happened. You didn't have to go that extra mile to do that. You could have enjoyed the limelight of the door and walked away. Is there a sense of fulfillment that you get out of creating that platform, or is it purely from a business perspective?
I love seeing other people do well. Always have. I grew up in the boys club, now the Boys and Girls Club, and I was a counselor there, and I came up in the club as at first as a camper and then as a counselor, and I always enjoyed seeing other people do well. It's interesting that I ended up in this business where it appears that you're out front. That's not even my nature, actually.
You know, the funny thing about it is when you think about, when the public thinks about you, they think of you as an actor. When I think about you, I think about you not only as an actor and an entertainer, not only as an icon in our community, but I also see you as a businessman, because what the public doesn't realize is that entertainment is a business. And you have been successful not only at acting on screen, which a lot of people do, you have been successful at the business of entertainment. Can you talk to me about the business aspect?
I tell people all the time, they call it show business. They should call it business show. No business, no next show.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Explain it.
No business, no next show. And, you know, you have to deliver. I mean, it is a business. It's a dollars and cents business. And you have to deliver.
And you have to know your worth. And you have to be able to negotiate from the perspective of knowing your own value. If other people know the value to want you, but you don't know the value to know who you are yourself, it would appear to me it would be quite difficult to be successful if you don't at least have some sense of the equity that has accrued behind your brand and consequently negotiate from the leverage of understanding that equity. At what point did it hit you that I am worth more than how I'm being handled, and how did you negotiate into the next stream of opportunities without allowing people to prostitute what God had given you?
I'm just that guy, you know. I'm not scared to say no, you know, and you have to say no sometimes, you know, and it's the no's that I said that really got me, you know, wherever I am now professionally. And the money really didn't scare me, you know. I've said it before, you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. You know, no matter, on your last day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. So that you know, the Egyptians tried to take it with them.
Right.
Yeah, all they got was robbed, right?
Right.
So but you can leave it here.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the money, I'm talking about what God has blessed me with. I could leave it here, you know, and that's what's important to me, is to, at this point in my life, just to be in that number.
You appear on a lot of.
You got at the line of the band.
All right, now you'll never see us again.
Pre-show in 5 minutes.
The part you guys don't see is when it's time to break this stuff down. Here it is, the breakdown that's happened. And sometimes when you can't find help, hands, dolly, you gotta make it do what it do. And this is what it looks like when everyone's moving, trying to reach a common goal, which is to get out of here. All hands on deck, trying to get out of here. From the rooter to the tutor, baby. We getting out of here. This is it. Stacking and wrapping it. Let's get out of here, baby. Let's get out of here.
What's up, it's your boy Cody here, Chi-Town.